Hello, dear friends. As you should probably know if you're following this, recently I made an Iceberg chart for Smash Remix and a video series covering it. And just now, version 1.5.0 just dropped, which of course adds some new things. So I thought I would go over and update on things that I talked about in that series and how it applies to the now newest version. So first of all, in the original videos, I said how Lucas was so far the only character who had his portrait changed by then. That is now new, as Supersonic has had their character portrait changed also, and it looks a lot better. Definitely Supersonic was one of the more weird and weaker looking ones beforehand. And speaking of Supersonic, I talked about in the Iceberg how Supersonic's all colors were the only ones to just have references based on things that were outside of like their game series or something that originated as video games. Well, with the addition of Dragon King, that is now no longer the case, as Dragon King, while not all of their alts are like this, their last two alts have this implied. This first one looks like a generic member for like the Lakers basketball team, and you could see that like it probably has some inspiration for NBA Jam and how Smashville is kind of like a soft like stage based on that series. Although I also think that they might specifically had Shaquille O'Neal in mind when they made this, because for whatever reason he's sort of a meme on the Discord. Like he has a couple of emotes and he was on the Lakers before, so yeah, there's that. And then his last doll is, of course, just, it's Pepsi Man. It's literally Pepsi Man, aside from the logo not being there. And Pepsi Man, of course, had his own games, so that was probably an easy source to be inspired by and copy off of. And continuing with references to other things, we're going to be sticking to video games in this case, though. Polygon Mewtwo was soft confirmed to be inspired by Gigu or Gigo or whatever. Me and my friend like to call him Uncle Googie, Uncle Googs from Mother 1. Now this is very fitting, as I'm hoping that a good chunk of you should already know. Gigu is basically like Mew Zero. He was designed by Creatures Inc., which beforehand basically was Ape, who of course helped in designing Mother 1 and 2. And we all know Creatures designs Pokemon, and yeah, you can see the obvious parallels and how Mewtwo was directly inspired and taken from Gigi. And yeah, like, I'm one of those people who always wanted him in a Smash Brothers, even if he was just like a clone built off of Mewtwo. And I mean, this is the closest we're gonna get. That's kind of a shame, but it's still really cool, and I'm glad to see the reference in there. Moving on the Iceberg, I mentioned the Smashville Easter egg, and yes, that's still there. However, they've since added another variant that takes place at nighttime. And if you look over it, the same Easter egg is there, but this time it's a villager. Very nice. And now I'm going to be talking more about, oh boy, this is going to be the most controversial thing to save for basically last, but one player remix changes. Now on here they of course added more teams and bosses, as you expect, like with the addition of Metal Luigi and such. However, in the original I specifically talked about difficulty changes, and here they kind of did that again. Now they didn't add back like the ridiculous like armor and resistance and everything for everybody. No. The final boss for Giga Bowser, however, they changed. You see, Giga Bowser can no longer be grabbed. Yes, he's the one character like that aside from Master Hand. And on top of that, he is unflinchable. In this one player mode at least, that doesn't apply to versus, I'm pretty sure, but the grabbing does, which is absolutely fucking insane. So they looked at Giga Bowser and were like, you know what, this guy needs some major buffs. But yeah, another change on top of that though is that Giga Bowser no longer, of course, launches then. He instead has stamina like Master Hand, and He's going to start with 300 even if you choose very easy. Now, while I can maybe understand these, so far at least for the few times I've played through it, I don't really like this change personally. It's an absolutely insane, like, what the fuck do you do typically spike? And it's like, if you go in with like out a full 5 stocks, then you're pretty much fucking screwed. Like, I've at least done it with 4, but yeah, it's fucking insane because like you can go and hit him how you like, but you're gonna get fucked up and like inevitably anyways, no matter what you do. And I don't know, I don't like it as much. It doesn't feel as good or fun to fight him in my opinion. But I mean, at least like the ending when you do beat him looks pretty cool and feels good to pull off. But it's like, god fucking damn. And finally, something to leave off of is that the missing space in between the games and Dr. Mario's BIOS. It's still there, baby. They didn't fix it, yeah. But anyway, that does it for this update video. It was very short and sweet, but I'll see you all for whatever is next. Bye-bye.